What's up, guys? It's DarkCat here with a quick deck check, quick video for you all since my pal hasn't uploaded any videos in a while, so I thought I'll do a video for you all. And it's of my Bermuda triangle deck, which is different from the main Bermuda triangle decks out there, as it focuses on the grade 3 being Lena. So that's the main difference, and I really enjoy playing this. I built it a while ago, and I came back to it, and it was actually playing semi-competitively, I guess, or I haven't played this deck on a competitive level yet, but I hope to, and I'll just get into it because many things are different from the average Bermuda deck, I guess, and there's many interesting things you can do with this deck that you can't do with many other decks in Vanguard. So, starting off with grade 0. Grade 0 starting Vanguard is Weddle, and I run an extra copy of her. 2 Caravel, 4 heal triggers, I guess this is about as standard as you can get. 4 of the Drive Quartet Shupru, with 2 extra Comical Rainy, 2 extra crits. 3 Drive Quartet something like that. Sorry, I'm just reading off the kanji. But stand triggers from the Drive Quartet, and 3 draw triggers from the Dive Quartet. The heals are already, of course. Now, so yeah, I'm running 2 copies of Weddle. So this card is like, this deck, first of all, is a pretty defensive deck, as there are lots of grade 0s to guard with, first of all. And Weddle has an effect which I really liked, and it's great because it really helps you to draw into cards. It really helps you get into the cards you need. That's what I found with it. That's why I've been running an extra copy. I really like to. It's great consistency. It's like you get a Girls Rock Rio with it, and or Caravel with it, and you can just keep drawing cards practically until you get the right card you need, or a card that you can work with. Yeah, that's why I run an extra copy. Like, people even in Bermuda Triangle get this to the hand if possible, just because it's a good 10k shield, but if I have to, I use its effect, and it's very good. Like, the second effect is very nice, very interesting, and so it just, like, you can just do more plays with it, I believe. And also it's a 5k booster, which is quite notable, since many grade 0s as starting Vanguards can be 4k, and the 5k is a great boost. 2 Caravels. This is only a 3k boost, but it has a Luckbird effect. When you call it to a rearguard circle, Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. Now, if there was a grade 1 for this card, grade 1, like a grade 1 Rackbird clone for this deck, it would be pretty much broke, because this card is absolutely amazing, I have to say. I'd still probably run this card just because it's so good. Like, the 3k boost is very low, but that does not make a difference when it's boosting the Vanguard, as we'll learn throughout the video. And that's the main thing about this. Like, it's the Soul Blasting 2 draw card. It is actually crazy in this deck, especially when you're soul charging so much. You get to draw so much as well. And yeah, it's the card that it's at 2 at the moment. I could lower it down to 1, but it's just so good. I haven't really gotten to the stage of testing 1 in it yet. So yep, those are the grade 0s that aren't triggers. Otherwise, 4 heals. I opted for 6 crits, 3 stands, 3 draws, just because the main Vanguard is Lena, so there's lots of rush potential in this deck, and if you have any grade 0s, you can easily just play them down, and then ride your arena, and then get them all back to your hand at grade 3. Which is good, because you're not necessarily gonna guard too much early game anyway. So it's an interesting thing, and you use the drive quartet effects, and they help greatly. Like, I can give an example after, but yeah, more crits instead of the stands and draws, just because crits are very you know, good for the pressure, I believe, especially at the current game state. And 3 stands just because I'm running the Fluke Girl, and these work very well with it. And 3 draws because, well, draw triggers are draw triggers, and plus drive quartet. So, and like, when you're playing this card down, it's probably the most, like, the best card you could play down, the best type of card you can play down, because of its only 5k shield. So you don't mind playing this card down too much. Then moving on to grade 1s. 4 of the AK vanilla. These can be pretty standard too. Like, I opt for 4. I reckon you could get away with running 3, but 4 is good because it does make that huge difference against 11k Vanguards, and even those 13k Vanguards. Yeah, it's just AK vanillas. Like, you can't get much better than them in terms of strength, obviously, especially in Bermuda Triangle. 2 Prism Girl. When you call this card, you can, each player can draw a card, so it's a DarkCat clone. This card, I wasn't initially running this. I only started running this because at some point I found that I was running more grade 2s than grade 1s, and so I needed to add more grade 1s, so I decided to opt for this. This card is actually pretty good, much better than I expected. Like, this card can be a bit controversial in terms of your opponent gets to draw a card as well, but that's the reason you only run 2, and plus you're not going to call this at such a crucial moment where it'll change the game entirely. Like, when you call this card, the turn you call it, you're going to be attacking as well, so it gives them more options of what to guard with, but they're going to be guarding nevertheless, so they might be able to draw a card, but they may not necessarily be able to use it. So it doesn't make too much of a difference in game. Like, your opponent's plussing, but so are you. So yeah, I actually like it. It's very good because drawing cards in this deck is great, and you try and draw cards in whichever way you can. 2 for Lucha. The soul charging, when you call it soul charge 1, as long as you have a Bermuda Triangle Vanguard, of course. I don't run this card just for the art. This card is good because soul charging, you need it for soul charge. You need soul for Caravel, you need soul for Flores. So yeah, it's just a necessary card, only 2 because you have other soul charging methods, of course. Then 4 Null Guards. As I said earlier, this is a very defensive deck, and the Null Guards help you get there. Plus, you get to call these cards. You get to call Null Guards as well early game because your Vanguard is Rena, so it'll come back to your hand, especially when you want it back into your hand. So, yeah, 4 is a great number in this deck. Plus, the Vanguard's only 10k, so there can be some issues where you need more defense. So 4 Null Guards to get there. I like running 4 Null Guards in whichever decks I can personally. Yeah, usually opt for 3, but now for that's grade 1s. I'm running 12 grade 1s, by the way. Going on to grade 2s. I'm running 2 of this Grand Blue 10k vanilla, just because I don't have the Bermuda Triangle grade 2 vanilla, but that's not a problem because I think this card looks cooler personally. It's actually pretty bad. Like, it stuffs you up, especially when like there are Bermuda Triangle rear guard effects that only work when you have certain clan specific rear guards and vanguards. So it's a bit annoying, but it's cool. Like, I like its artwork personally. but just 2 10k vanillas because they're the best thing to ride as your Vanguard when you hit grade 2. They're great defense, plus they're just great power in general, like best offense and best defense really. So yeah, like you can't complain about 10k vanillas. 2 of the special intercepts when this card intercepts. I think it's for a Bermuda Triangle unit or something along those lines. Gains an extra 5k guard. As I said earlier, defense. This card is really good. It's either straight away an attack target, and if you're just they waste an attack on it, or you use this to guard for whatever you want it to guard. So yeah, good card. I like it. Like I would run more if I had the space. For Girls Rock Rio, this is like, I could say this is one of the staples in Bermuda Triangle. Maybe not Riviere too much, but definitely every other build you can think of. Basically, it's just the best card. You get to, it returns to your hand, you get to soul charge one, and you get to draw a card. Sorry about the cut, but yeah. For Girls Rock Rio, just because, as I was saying, best card for Bermuda Triangle, just as it gets you a card in soul, it gets you an extra card in hand, and it returns to the hand itself, which makes room for whatever other cards you want to play that are stronger than it. Plus, like, this can return to your hand, and you can easily just ditch it with an Elgard. Like, this card is actually really good. I run 4 basically just because it's so good. It's the best thing to help you start getting into the game early. Like, I run 4 just so I can get it early with like Weddle, and I can just use Weddle to keep bouncing this to my hand, drawing cards, and then if I get a second Weddle, I can use its effect again. It's the best thing early game really. So yeah, it's great, especially for that really. Weak 8k, but you're running 4 8k vanillas to help boost that. Yeah, and plus you're only going to use its effect so much in the early game that it won't make a difference end game. You're just going to ditch it with an Elgard really. Then 3 girl with the flute. Don't know what it's actually named, sorry. But this card, when it attacks, gains 3k for if you have 4 or more Bermuda Regards on the field, and that includes itself, so you're pretty much there. Well, that's when it's a rear guard. Sorry, as a Vanguard, it's a different situation. But this is really good. Like early game, you can put a trigger behind it, and since you want 4 or more rear guards, and let's just say it's your Vanguard scenario, you get the perfect field. Like I can show you scenarios and where I've ended up having to have a full field, but you just swarm, you just really rush early game, and it creates an interesting turnout in the game, I have to say. So that's the grade 2, that's 11 grade 2s. As you can see, I didn't really want to take too many away from them either. And then finally finishing off with grade 3, I run 7 in full, 4 arena, because you don't really want another Vanguard than it. It is probably the best for you. 2 Flores, it's a great backup Vanguard, like, especially when you have spare soul, you can just use it to bounce the Rio and gain its effect. 1 Salam, or as McNugget likes to call it, Sodomy. This card is like really big because as you're aware of, like, this card's first effect on the card says that when it attacks and you have 4 or more Bermuda Triangle rearguards, it gains an extra 3k. So it's the same as this, basically. And it's the effect that lots of people forget about. So not only does it get all of your cards to your hand, but ironically, it gains the extra 3k when you've got 4 or more, which is really good. Like, people don't really remember it, and it's like kind of like you're attacking like it's a Soul Savior Dragon. It's gaining that 3k, so with an 8k vanilla behind it, swings for 21, which is a perfect number in this current game. Or if you're playing a 13k Vanguards, it's even better. Like it's already gains the 3k, so you don't actually have to worry if you're gonna swing too low. They get to guard easily. So yeah, its effect. Of course, I use it just to turn all of the cards on my field to hand. Besides this card because it's ground blue, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, really good card, I have to say. I don't know what made me base this deck around this card, but it just happened, I guess. I was just playing around with Bermuda Triangle and somehow I came up with this, but it's a fun deck, I have to say. Yeah, this card is a really great pressuring rearguard unit, as well as Vanguard, great backup Vanguard. If they don't guard it, you get the amazing plus of Girls Rock Rio, or you're just having, you're getting them to force cards out from their hand, basically. And then, yeah, as I was saying, this card, at first I didn't have room for this. I was only running like 6 grade 3s, and I didn't really want to add any more, in case I was running too many. But no, this is probably the best decision you could ever make if you could ever play this. Like, because you only, as I said, you only use Girls Rock Rio so much in the early game. You don't want to use it in the late game that much, because you do get to a certain stage where you will start thinning your deck out so much that you're close to decking out. And this card, you have spare counterblast, so you may as well use it up. And this card is good because you don't have much pressure besides the Vanguard swinging for 21k. So this can also potentially swing for 21k with the counterblast 1. And that's what's amazing about it, really. Nothing else. Like, I really like this card. It's really good for the pressure. It's like running like Bermudas, except a bit weaker, a bit less stupider, really, but yeah, it's great. So this is my Bermuda deck. It's a bit indie. It's a bit different from your normal Bermuda deck, like as you can see. And I think I'll just show a few scenarios of what you can do with this deck, because it's actually pretty fun. It's actually pretty interesting. So I'll just cut for a sec. So what up, guys? Yeah, I'm gonna go through some scenarios with this deck, and probably the grade where you can swarm a lot. Like, you can swarm from grade 1 with this deck, that's its potential, but perfect grade to show how good like the drive quartet is grade 2, especially with this card as Vanguard. Basically, it's like this. It's like you've got and this is like probably not, the stupidest hand you can get, but basically you've got an AK Vanguard, which is pretty weak, right? You've got Wordle because it's moved out. Basically, you call this, and it's a 4k boost, so that only swings to 12 because there's not 4k rearguards yet. So you want more rearguards. So you call this, and this effect is again when Bobrin's on the field, it gains an extra 3k. So now that's a 7k boost. This is still 4k. This is still swing for 12, right? Then what you can do is you get to call your 10k interceptor. Now this doesn't get there, right? But it wouldn't get there if it had a 4k behind it. But now it's swinging for 15 because this gets a boost from that. And now that you've got 4 rearguards on the field, this also gets a 3k boost, which also allows it to swing for 15k. So there, it's like this is swinging for 15, this is swinging for 15. Now, because like the 8ks can be weak, so these help it get there. Then what you can do is you can like call a Girls Rock Rio, use Wales effects, move it to Soul, bring back Rio to your hand, abuse Rio. Look, you've got another Weddle, so you can do it again. Then you've got enough Soul to activate Caravel's effect. Yeah, that's basically the combos you do in this deck. Then the next turn you just ride Rena, get this back to your hand. And like before that, you've got a 10k interceptor, so you're fine for defense. Then the next turn you ride Rena, get these back to your hand for guarding with, and then call what's in your hand thanks to Rio and what you just triggered, etc. So that's kinda a play you can do with this deck. Basically, the main combos are Weddle, just using Weddle, just so you can draw as many cards as you can early game to swarm and rush your opponent in any way you can. It's just to apply lots of early pressure, and just so you get to call Rena and plus, basically. So you can use these cards to attack, do like nice swinging, and then get them back to your hand with Rena. So basically, yeah, there's Weddle, there's Caravel, Weddle and Caravel, Weddle and Girls Rock Rio, best combos. Prism Girl if you have to, but yeah, these are the main combos for getting like your field out and everything. So yeah, this is my Bermuda deck, Bermuda Triangle deck of AmaterasuPulls' first Bermuda deck profile. Again, this is only supposed to be short, but went a bit longer. Yeah, my pal hasn't been uploading any videos, so I thought I would. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope it has given you a different view. This is a really fun deck, by the way. So just putting that out there, and yeah, if you're gonna have a look at this deck, have fun, because I'm having lots of fun with it. So yeah, Bermuda deck by DarkCat, signing out.